guys.
Hi guys, what's up? I'm Regina, joined by Terry today here at Unrated Gaming in Norwalk for your Southern California PC. Got an exciting round one. It's super quiet back here right now. We've got Nathan Christmas versus Jackson Finch. So really fun round one.
Yeah.
Both really notable players down here. Jackson of having top cut this year in Costa Mesa. Nathan, really strong player, just barely missing that CP.
Oh yeah, but they
rounds.
both play at like a really high level, and like Nathan, he's been doing very well since North America Internationals last season. So I think it's just good to see like two good players continue developing their own like style of play and get great results.
And I think what's really fun about locals like this is when you have such good players, they continually, kind of match up against each other. And so you kind of get used to their play style, and it's kind of fun being like, okay, if I have this team, how do I test it out against someone else of this caliber? And like, going against such strong opponents in round one like this, it's always kind of like a hard uphill battle to do, especially looking at their teams too.
Yeah.
So their teams are going to be really fun. I'm going to be bringing up on the screen really soon for you guys. So Jackson's on the left, bringing that Alola Persian, that Tapu Fini, Landorus Theron, Venusaur, Zapdos, and Metagross. And Nathaniel on your right side has Gengar, Zapdos, Landorus Theron, Tapu Fini, Alola Persian, and Celesteela.
I think the choice of poison types on both teams is very interesting. Venusaur, people have been hating on it at some points, but but it's a Pokemon that has shown like a lot of potential as a secondary backup mega, and that's something that might be in play here. Well, we'll have to see until the game actually starts, but I think that's like a very interesting way to tackle some matchups.
Well, I mean, like, it's got that thick fat ability too. What's interesting too is that Jackson and Nathan have half of their team basically the same.
Oh yeah.
Like, you've got that the Alola Persian, you've got the Landorus Theron, and you've got the Tapu Fini. What I find interesting is Jackson usually loves to bring Celesteela, and he's not having it this time, but Nathan's picking it up.
Oh yeah. Nathan's been using Celesteela at previous events too. But I like that he's making the shift to Gengar. I think it's like, it's being looked at right now, but it's also just something that's somewhat underexplored, I think. Like, people are still coming up with new ways to play the archetype with Como, Bulu, or just with Gengar, like, offensively. So I think there's going to be a lot of things to see moves-wise, and yeah,
and hopefully that Venusaur gets some work in there, because I think someone just top cut the Northern California.
Yeah, Raghav.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, especially when you have like that rain team that just won Latin America like this afternoon, to just have a Pokemon that's so good in that weather and has that big bat ability as well.
Yeah.
We'll be getting that screen back up real soon so we can see these leads. I think it'd be fun if they have like that mirror too, because you have that option of having so many of the same Pokemon there. There's a chance that like that mirror matchup is how do you work it, especially when like Landorus has so many options for items. You're like, okay, which item do we use, and like how do we go from here, and what do we look at this for?
I think the teams follow a similar structure, as in like the different Pokemon in the teams are. Oh, we're back on the screen.
All right, so Jackson leading with the Venusaur, and this Pokemon that has an interesting nickname. Ooh. But Nathan has a Gengar, and I wish I could see this other Pokemon right now. These nicknames. Oh, okay, so Alola Persian and then Zapdos.
I feel like given the fake-out pressure and the faster speed from Nathaniel, Jackson may have to play a little bit defensively this turn, but I think there are like a couple lead-based, I would say, decisions that these players can both make, so it'll kind of have to be about like how they measure up against each other on that given turn.
And like you said, like that fake-out pressure from Nathan's Alola Persian going to that Zapdos, as Gengar goes for the Sludge Bomb onto the Venusaur and being trapped in here, so Sludge Bomb's being exchanged as Venusaur's Sludge Bomb goes into Alola Persian, gets it down to half health.
That was a pretty even trade, like in terms of health anyway. We'll see how this prompts the other players to react. Obviously Persian can't take another hit, so that's going to prompt a parting shot perhaps.
Well, I think also Jackson, when he thinks of his lead, he also has to think of the fact that Nathan has that Mega Gengar and that Shadow Tag. It's super annoying because it gives Nathan a lot of power of being like, I can choose what to trap and when to trap it, and having Mega Evolve this turn, he's got this option now of being like, okay, I can take out either of these Pokemon, because there's not a lot of ways that that Venusaur or Zapdos can be removed from the field, barring that knockout, or, that Gengar being switched out.
Yeah. Man, these teams are so interesting. It's like they brought the same half course, so to speak, but like the leads are so different, and like they're bringing different modes.
Right.
Here's the parting shot.
Yeah, so like you called it, that parting shot from Nathan's Alola Persian. Gonna be going back to Nathan, gonna lower the special, gonna lower both of Venusaur and Zapdos as the Sludge Bomb from Gengar hits that Zapdos for a critical hit, which gets it down to really low health. We have Landorus Therian Intimidate going onto that Venusaur, that Zapdos. I appreciate these nicknames so much.
They're so good.
But Tailwind on Jackson's side, going to give him a little bit of speed boost against Nathan's team, which we saw that Gengar went first. But Leech Seed going to connect with that Gengar as well. So using that Shadow Tag to his advantage, going to be getting back that health from earlier that he lost.
Yeah, I really like this line of play because I think this is the best way to sort of match up against Gengar's pressure without really drastically altering his own positioning. And Gengar teams, I think, like, it's just the Shadow Tag as well as like the mind games brought by its partners, its common partners, just makes it really difficult for you to figure out what's the optimal sequence of moves to make in a given game.
So Zapdos using Roost, going to be getting back that health that it lost from that critical hit, as another Leech Seed from that Venusaur going to connect with the Landorus Therian this time, so double the health back on this turn. But Icy Wind from Nathan connecting with both, going to get that drop in speed onto both Venusaur and Zapdos. Even though it's super effective moves, you know, not a lot of damage being done on there, that nice option of speed control, as we have the Rock Slide from Nathan's side going to be connecting with both of them, does really good damage onto that Zapdos, does get the critical hit and activates the Berry, so going to be getting that health back that it also got from that Roost, so really good call from Jackson to do that, as that Leech Seed is now going to be getting back a bunch of that health that it just lost.
Yeah, this is honestly hard to say right now, but revealing that Icy Wind kind of messed up with the speed control part of Jackson's turn last turn, but by getting Leech Seed up on both Pokemon, now he's able to play that attrition game. So it's going to be a careful balance between defensive playing and trying to play for an efficient tempo of a given turn.
And Nathan going to be going up with a different mode here, going to be switching out that Mega Gengar, bringing his own Zapdos. We did have kind of that mirror on here, not going to be wanting to lose either that speed control or that Shadow Tag, as Zapdos on Jackson's side goes for the Thunderbolt on there, does some okay on there. An Earthquake from Landorus, probably why he switched out that Gengar, going to be connected only with Venusaur, and doesn't quite get a knockout on there, but the Giga Drain going to be going into that Landorus, does some good damage on there, gets the health back, and also gets the Leech Seed at the end of this turn.
Yeah, that is still kind of iffy health-wise, but with the Gengar switching out, this gives Jackson the opportunity to reposition and maybe adjust to what Nathan has revealed so far.
I will say Jackson's Venusaur does live up to its nickname. Like, that is a big Venusaur.
Taking everything. Such a tricky Pokemon to play against.
And like you said, it's something that people have been kind of looking down on, but this is a really nice way of showing, hey, it's very good. It's kind of reminiscent of Celesteela in that sense.
Oh, yes.
And alright, so Heat Wave from Jackson's Zapdos misses the opposing Zapdos, but manages to get the Landorus into the red as we get a Groundian Z.
Oh, that's a... Yeah, there's been like teams that have been getting results like in Europe where they combine Groundium Z Landorus with Gengar, and in a way, both Pokemon, both sets anyway, operate to punish defensive, switching heavy kind of plays, so I think Nathan really has a clear idea with his team when it comes to what he wants to do for most matchups, which is trying to get that early pressure and then just win from there. That Tailwind solidifies that by just making sure he moves faster.
Yeah, and you know, it's perfect timing because Jackson's Tailwind also just kind of runs out on that turn. And,
yeah.
Oh, I like this name. So we've got so now we have an actual mirror match on this field. But I also think that Nathan was really good about like having to reveal that Z move to actually get that knockout on there, because that Venusaur was sitting there just sapping that health from his own Landorus. So this Landorus now on Jackson's side is going to be intimidating Nathan's Landorus, and his is going to be not intimidated.
So this situation, I think, is a lot better for Jackson than the Mon count suggests. Right now, he's behind one Pokemon, but I also think he's relatively ahead on positioning that'll force a switch as we see from there, the low health Landorus.
Alright, and our lean, the Persian is actually coming back here as Nathan's Zapdos, because that Tailwind goes first, gets the Thunderbolt onto Jackson's Zapdos, but now we have the Landorus with the Swords Dance, which I think has been a really interesting variant that we saw a little bit earlier, but not as often.
Yes.
You used it actually last month, if I remember.
I like the set, so.
And Jackson finishing off the turn with a Tailwind to match, so gonna have an extra turn after Nathan's Tailwind is gonna expire.
Yeah, I really like the way the Tailwind was timed here, because if the Tailwinds are matched in a single turn, then it doesn't really do anything. So I like the fact that Jackson has set up, whether intentionally or not, that asymmetrical Tailwind where he has like a turn of speed advantage after his opponent's Tailwind turns are over.
And Jackson withdrawing that Lander is going to be sending out his last Pokemon here, which is the Tapu Fini. That's a very choice nickname right there, but we're going to get Misty Terrain up on the field now. So no item actually from that Zapdos, and I know that people like to run like that Misty Seed, but Foul Play, not going to be doing that much to the Zapdos on Jackson's side, as Thunderbolt is actually going to be enough to pick up the knockout on it, so Jackson will be down this Pokemon, going to be forced to have Tapu Fini and Landorus on the field.
Personally, that was an unexpected play, but after seeing the way it went, that makes a lot of sense. I really like the way Nathan kind of called like a passive play from one half of the board, and he tried to just, well, make that call sort of like bravely and then just take it from there. And that's something that I think a lot of beginning players are struggling with, just making sure of when to make a certain read or a play. So I think seeing Nathan really make those ballsy reads, so to speak, is like what makes him a good player.
And Jackson's now officially stuck with these two Pokemon as like his last Pokemon here, so Nathan can kind of employ that parting shot, Intimidate continually on it, especially since Landorus like to carry U-turn as well. So he has that option to just kind of like nerf that Landorus. And as we go into this match, we've got into this turn, person using that parting shot onto Tapu Fini going to be switching out, going back to Nathan. And we know he still has his Gengar, and he has that Landorus now in the back. So we do get that Landorus back once more. Going to get the Intimidate into both of Jackson's Pokemon, so he's going to be at -1 now on his own Landorus.
Oh, well, the Swords Dance puts it up to +1, right?
Yep. So that is a nice way to counteract it, I think, because the Intimidate cycle has been something that, you know, people need to really watch out for as Heat Wave from Zapdos connects both Pokemon here. Ooh. That's rough. Gets the burn on the Pokemon he absolutely needed to burn.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate.
Yikes. As the Muddy Water connects onto both of Nathan's Pokemon, does manage to knock out that Landorus finally. But, you know, I think this turn definitely went in the way of Nathan's favor.
Oh, yes. Having said that, I still think there's hope because Landorus has Swords Dance. I think the fact that it's at +1 right now lets it retain some of the damage despite the burn, and maybe if he can get some more turns, he can set up more boosts and still do respectable damage.
And this Gengar going to be hitting the field. It threatens a lot of damage on that Tapu Fini. I'm really hoping it uses Moonblast, so, you know, matches its name.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Swords Dance on that Landorus, which is something that's not super popular or common, also a really cool play because, like you said, it kind of negates not just the Intimidate damage, but that burn damage and that nerf to its attacking stats. But that's a lot. Oh, man. So Pokemon avoiding on Nathan's side, that Gengar avoiding that Rock Slide as we get a little bit of damage onto that Zapdos. And Muddy Water connecting with both Pokemon, a move notorious for getting the wrong type of accuracy drops.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but it does get the accuracy drop on Nathan's side.
Sometimes lucky.
Alright, an Icy Wind connecting from Gengar, gonna finish off this turn. It might be actually enough to just pick up that knockout. It is like Arcana with Fire Types.
It's really hard for
Landorus to...
well, status using Landorus sets to have big special bulk, so it tends to be weaker to faster Ice type threats.
Okay, and then Zapdos from that, so Zapdos using Thunderbolt, gonna get good damage onto that Tapu Fini, not quite enough to knock it out yet.
Oh, finally!
I think what Jackson is doing here is just trying to evaluate exactly how this game went and just, you know, play out this game, getting information, and that's fine. He'll just have to adjust game 2, and I think given the dual mega nature of his team, there will be lots of room for improvising in a best of 3 setting. So I want to see how he would like approach these problems that are given to him at the end of game 1.
And I think Jackson had like a really good run with that Venusaur, especially like Nathan, I think, kind of took it for granted. He let both of his Pokemon get leech seeded and was kind of forced to switch out, that Gengar. But I also like on Nathan's side, he has that ability to switch to do the Intimidate cycle, to do the parting shot, and just to, you know, keep Jackson's Pokemon trapped in and cycle out those attack and special attack reducing moves. And I think Jackson really has to kind of respect that and understand, hey, I kind of need to figure out how to use this in a way. Like, even the Tailwind, I think even that speed control in in the way they were playing didn't matter as much.
Yes. I would like to see Jackson elect for a more aggressive style, maybe using Metagross. I felt that while Leech Seed looked really good at certain points, with some of the information that Nathaniel has revealed, I don't think Jackson should be playing a slow game versus a team like that tries to snowball on the Shadow Tag advantage and make incremental leads from there.
Yeah, and so Nathan actually going to be locking into his team once more. So Jackson, he's got that Alola Persian, the Tapu Fini, Landorus there, and Venusaur, Zapdos, and Metagross. And Nathan's team has half of the same Pokemon, plus Celesteela, and that's the only one I can remember that was different. Oh, and the Gengar. Going to this round 2, Jackson's really gonna have to think about that Mega Gengar lead, because it is scary. Like, it is a hard Pokemon to kind of like fight against.
Yeah, one mistake can cost you a whole game because of how, well, limiting Shadow Tag is as an opponent.
Alright, and so Nathan gonna be leading with his Alola Persian and Gengar, same lead from game 1, but Jackson mixing it up, gonna be leading with his own Alola Persian and his Venusaur on here. So the Venusaur, I think I still really like.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because, you know, once you have those lead seeds, you've got to force Nathan to switch out or just kind of feed back that health, and that Venusaur we saw, like, again, lives up to its name. That is a thick Venusaur.
Oh yeah, like, I did say during team preview that I would have liked to see him bring Metagross, but if he led that with the Persian, then that's like kind of a check towards the Swords Dance Landorus that we've been seeing from both players. So I like that they both bring their Persians, they're both respecting their Landoruses, each other's Landoruses, by doing that, and I think that's going to be the focal point of this match, whoever utilizes that one Pokemon better.
Right, and it's hard too, especially because now you've got those fake outs being
right.
able to be switched out. But Gengar going to be mega evolving on Nathan's side, going to be locking in both that Persian and that Venusaur, unless this Persian also carries Parting Shot. And Mega Venusaur hitting the field from Jackson's side, going to mega evolve on this turn as well. Hopefully we'll see either that Leech Seed again. We do know that it also carries Sludge Bomb, does a lot of damage onto that Persian. But Jackson's Persian is actually be faster as the Gengar goes into the Sludge Bomb onto that Persian. Does a lot more damage than that other Sludge Bomb did. But Leech Seed into that Gengar, gonna have to force Nathan either to sacrifice that health or gonna be, you know, going back to it, allowing Jackson to switch out Pokemon.
Yeah, this is tricky because, like, we don't really know what the speed stats are for the Persians at the given moment, especially from the player's perspective. So that's going to really determine how these players would like to play out their turns, especially if they have Taunt.
Oh, not that it's fair, because Persians do like to carry Taunt, but Icy Wind on Gengar connecting, going to pick up the knockout on that Persian, going to lower the speed on Venusaur, not going to matter that much. Does minimal damage for a super effective move, of course, and like you said, Taunt from Nathan's Alola Persian going to be taunting that Venusaur, but Jackson goes for the Sludge Bomb, manages to get the poison as well, so Nathan going to have to be really careful about doing that cycling, and Jackson kind of gets a free switch in now.
Yeah, like, being put in a 3v4, like a 3 Pokemon versus 4 Pokemon situation, seems like a disadvantage, and it can be, but it also means that you're given the opportunity to reposition for free without taking any damage, and that means you're not actually taking a risk, and sometimes it's better for you to just let that slot, well, be sacrificed, and then get a new Pokemon to come in and change the course of battle.
And the new Pokemon that Jackson's bringing in is that Zapdos, which we saw has Tailwind, has Roost, has Heat Wave, and also has Thunderbolt, so has a lot of options to kind of like hit all of Nathan's Pokemon on here.
Yeah.
I know I said before that Tailwind speed control wasn't really a big deal, but against a Gengar that has Icy Wind, it might be something he might want to think about for later. But
Yeah.
that Venusaur is not going to really benefit.
But depending on what he has in the bag, that might be something that he can set up an endgame with.
Right. And so that Icy Wind connecting with the Zapdos but misses the Venusaur, so gets a -1 onto the Zapdos. This Venusaur is still only at -1 as Nathan's Alola Persian goes for the Parting Shot onto Zapdos, gonna lower that attack and special attack, go back to Nathan, gonna save itself a turn of poison, but gonna have to bring in a Pokemon here. It could be that Landorus again. We saw it did some good damage onto that Venusaur with that Grounding Z. And so this Intimidate from that Landorus is going to lower the attack. So now this Zapdos is at -2, and I think this Venusaur is still only at like -1 for attack. As Thunderbolt connects into the Gengar, doesn't quite fall for that switch, and Sludge Bomb going into that Landorus as well. And Leech Seed gonna bring up this Venusaur back to full health.
This turn is very interesting because I think from game 1, Jackson realized that in this particular board state, setting up Tailwind is not a very good idea. So he went for double attacking, And I really like that, but Nathan also tried to cover for multiple situations at once by using the parting shot to lessen the damage on the Gengar while going for the Icy Wind to cover the option of setting a Tailwind. I really like the both turns by both players, but with the Landorus coming here, with the Gengar still alive, I think Nathan is in a proactive situation to be threatening with either Swords Dances or hard-hitting moves in general.
We actually don't know if Nathan has Sword Dance. That was actually Jackson's.
Oh,
Landorus that had
right,
Sword Dance.
right.
But we do have that Icy Wind one more time from Nathan, showing it. He's really focusing on that speed right now. Gonna do damage onto both these Pokemon. Lower their speed by to be -2 now for both of these Pokemon on here. The Ground EMZ from Nathan's Landorus is gonna be connecting into that Venusaur because of that Shadow Tag. But we also know that he kind of recognized it as a threat in Game 1. Wanted to get a lot of damage onto it.
This Tech Rage. Yeah, Cold on the Venusaur. I don't think this would KO.
It won't, but it does a lot more damage, and it makes it harder for it to get back that health.
That...
Oh, she is a thick Venusaur!
Wow.
Dang! I'm sorry, Miguel. And the Tailwind on Jackson's Zapdos.
That is a wow. That was
Giga
a
Drain.
lot of damage from Giga Drain.
Woo! I had to say that. I'm really sorry. That was that.
I like that. That was funny.
Yeah. That means they're getting back some good health after that Ground EMZ, holding on to that 1 HP, and if you're Nathan, you're shaking your head like, why? Ooh.
I think the taunt being worn off from Venusaur right now is very well timed on Jackson, because this is something that now he can... Well, it's not like a mix-up, but obviously the ability to protect will give him a lot more options versus Nathaniel. Although I don't think he should protect, just because, well, maybe in this turn, but protecting this turn wouldn't change the board state, because from the health of Gengar, it looks like it'll live another Leaf.
Oh, but Jackson's not gonna protect because he doesn't. I don't think he wants to lose it right now.
Yeah,
because he
I
has
think his
so much
best.
pressure on there.
Yeah.
And the Sledge Bomb from Nathan's Gengar are gonna go into that Zapdos, activating the Berry on her, so gonna get that health back too. Just this match has been sort of Nathan attacking and Jackson just getting back all of his health
Yeah.
as Rock Slide connects only with that Zapdos. Gonna cross your fingers and hope for no flinches on there. And
Very bulky offensive versus a more offensively, aggressively inclined team.
And not quite the double knockout from Jackson's side, but he does manage to knock out that Gengar, so he can really switch in now, which was, again, like, that's a big problem with Mega Gengar.
Oh, that's fair. After this turn, I thought he was going to be playing really passively, protecting, trying to wear out the Gengar, but obviously that Heat Wave just gave him a way to address it. So now the health situation looks a little bit weird, but depending on what Jackson has in the bag, I think he should be able to bring the game to a more even state.
Yeah, and I think Jackson has a little bit of sort of like an offensive pressure advantage on here because that Gengar is gone now, can't really trap, can't do Sludge Bomb, and this Landorus is almost kind of knocked out. All Nathan's got left is that Zapdos, and he's got that Persian in the back. But Jackson actually gonna be switching out for his own Landorus, gonna be intimidating that Landorus, and that Zapdos gonna be bringing him down to -1 stage of attack. Always nice, especially against Pokemon that are like heavy physical attackers, as the Earthquake from Nathan's Landorus only connects with this Venusaur. At 56 health, it might survive. Who knows at this point? This thing is a lot.
Yeah, it's very bulky here.
Especially with that -1 Intimidate as
yeah,
well.
I guess with Heat Wave it doesn't really matter, but the fact that it forces that Heat Wave
Ooh, the burn again
Wow.
though. Ouch. Oh.
The percent on that isn't very high, accounting for the mischance, so it's just unfortunate, but that is the game. It's about putting yourself in the highest winning percentage, highest winning chance, so it's something that's upsetting, but Jackson is the kind of player that can see this as part of the game and move on.
And you this is something that you have to just realize, like, hey, this happens, it's okay. And he played like that match like super well too. But like we know from Jackson's Landorus, he has that Swords Dance. He can kind of get back that health. He hasn't been intimidated, and if Nathan really wants to, he'll risk having that little Persian out there. Going to be losing that Fake Out and that Parting Shot if he switches that into something that will knock it out. I'm not sure if Tailwind is actually still up on Jackson's side or not, and so all of these speed tiers are kind of reset here. But Nathan is going to be switching out that Landorus, going to be sending in that Persian again. It is been poisoned, and the Zapdos avoiding that Rock Slide. Just bad RNG right now on Jackson's side here, and won't even matter if it like flinches that. But Roost from Zapdos gonna be getting back some good health on there. It's gonna get it back into the green. Gonna live to see another day. But Nathan's Zapdos gonna be finishing off this turn with a Tailwind, give himself that speed boost.
So this is really difficult now because I was about to say that perhaps dodging a heat wave would put Jackson in a favorable spot after enough rock slides, but you know, that miss is pretty painful because that's the exact opposite of what he wanted to put himself back in the game. And with Persian switching in, now there's the fake out pressure. This is like looking really tough.
But, you know, like we always say, if there's a rock slide, there's a way.
Oh yes, oh yes.
And so a taunt actually from from the Alola Persian into Zapdos is going to keep it from potentially using Tailwind after Jackson's Tailwind just ran out. Heat Wave connecting on both Pokemon, gets a critical hit on that Landorus. And, ooh, Ground DMZ from Jackson's side as well. Going to be going into, hopefully, that Alola Persian spot.
That's a nice ground UMG Landorus mirror.
Okay.
It's just really weird.
I always get really nervous whenever that happens in the flying type Pokemon I feel.
There's a lot of counterplay with like dodging Tectonic Rages with flying types. And
oh, barely.
So that burn does matter, but the poison is there, so I guess the RNG kind of evens out, right?
Yeah. But you know, I think it's still a good call on Nathan's side having taunted that Zapdos because that Zapdos just kind of has that dead turn where it couldn't use Tailwind, and now we have this. Now we have Nathan. Now we have a mirror. Oh my god, like an actual mirror. But that Intimidate onto Jackson's side, that's gonna hurt because he hasn't been able to Swords Dance yet.
Yeah, this can potentially become really weird where like both Landorus's can faint and then the Zapdoses just keep on roosting or something.
Oh, alright, so Rock Slide gonna be knocking out
well,
that
I
Landorus.
guess his Zapdos is faster.
Yeah,
so.
because of that Tailwind on Nathan's
Yeah.
side. So good game on that, unless it dodges.
I mean, it's Thunderbolt, so I guess it's okay.
Which is a really good play because, you know, that 10% miss chance we know can hurt players on there. So really good game for both players. A little bit tough, I think Jackson did good adjustments. I love that he brought that person and he brought it next to that Venusaur. It gave him a lot more maneuverability.
Right.
And I think if he was expecting taunt from that Persian turn 1 from Nathan, it at least let him set up that Leak Seed.
Yeah, giving him a way to like instantly get out of that Shadow Tag. It's just something that I think he adjusted very well with. I just find it so that you know, there were like very similar sets and very similar Pokemon, and over half the team looked similar. And obviously, how it looks on Team Preview and how it plays are very different things.
Yeah, especially because you can't account for any of that, like the burn, the misses, the flint. Like that's always really difficult to just kind of gauge for. But I think, you know, even if you're Jackson, you're not thinking like, oh, I played this horribly. You played it well. It was just unfortunate because the numbers were against you in this time. And I think you kind of put the pressure on Nathan too. And Nathan obviously kind of piloting that Gengar team really nicely, understanding how he needs to manage that, and like that cycling with the Persian and with that Landorus, I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
so.
In card games, there's like that concept of control where you try to make reactive decisions to come out on top, and I think Persian really gets that kind of job done along with Gengar, where you do that by limiting your opponent's actions and then giving yourself ways to perform more actions, such as during your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
I thought that was like sort of a masterclass by Nathan on how to deal with emergent threats that are potentially threatening to the Gengar, such as like Tailwind. I thought that was a very well planned set by Nathan in terms of the best of 3, the way he approached it.
Alright, cool. So guys, we will see you for round 2 in a little bit. Join us in a while. Once again, I'm Regina. This is Terry. You might know him as Scary Terry. Yeah, Scary Terry.
I'm bad.
And we will see you guys in a little bit. See you later.
Bye.
My name is Zoe Liu and I'm from Sydney and I was the 2017 Oceania International Champion. I got into Pokemon because I started playing Sapphire, but it wasn't until Generation 5 that I started really playing like online and competitive. I saw on Cerebi that there was one of those online international challenges and I entered that and I failed horribly. Half a year later, when I was Googling art for Pokemon and I came across all these Nugget Bridge articles with art on them. And then I clicked on them and I realized they led back into team reports on competitive teams, and that was what really got me into competitive BGC. I decided to go to Oceania last year because I was thinking about actually quitting Pokemon. My plan was that I would go play Pokemon for a day and then just enjoy the city in Melbourne because that was the first time I'd ever been there. And then somehow I managed to go 8-1. I did quite terribly on day 2, but luckily for me, all the opponents I lost to were really good and all had made it into cut, so I squeaked into top cut on resistance. When I got top cut, I don't think I felt any different because I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't until finals. I think it was starting to slowly hit me that I was in the finals. I was looking at Desu's team, that was really scary for me and I had no idea how to approach it. When I sat there, I just kind of went off like what I felt would be right. When the Gyarados flinched from the rock slide and I KO'd it with Lele, I realized I had the game and that was a really cool moment for me because I realized I actually won a tournament. I think for people who want to make a shot at Worlds, it's definitely worth going for. It's really cool to just go around to different parts of the world and just see people. Because of Pokemon, I now know people from all over the world, and before Melbourne last year, I never in my life thought I'd ever go to Worlds. The level of competition there was really intense, but at the same time, everyone was really friendly, so I really enjoyed Worlds. I don't feel any different after winning, but last year was a really happy year in my life, and yeah, that's probably a moment that will stay with me for life.